The KALB 70th Anniversary Special, hosted by Johnny Atkinson, starts now.
Hello and welcome to the KALB 70-year Anniversary Special. I'm Johnny Atkinson. Well, in 2024, we at KALB celebrated 70 years serving as Central Louisiana's TV station for local news, local weather, local sports, and local programming. But how did it all start? Well, here's a quick look at the history of KALB. It all started on Wednesday afternoon in 1954. It was the first game of the World Series, and the people in Cenla got to see Willie Mays make the catch, one of the greatest plays in baseball history. But getting KALB launched on that day wasn't an easy feat. TV stations were opening in big cities in North and South Louisiana in the 1950s, but there was no signal reaching the people of Central Louisiana before the FCC granted the license for one news station.
Central Louisiana was in a donut, so you had a Shreveport station, a Monroe station, a Baton Rouge station, and we were kind of left out where nobody was getting a signal. So the first company for KALB applied to the FCC and got the first VHF license.
Herb Bruce is the general manager at KALB and knows the complications of broadcasting the signal.
Our area was only able to have one VHF channel, which is a very high frequency. It's the most powerful of channels. But we were the only one, and we didn't have any competition into the market.
KALB was the only local station serving Central Louisiana for many years. It was the official NBC affiliate, but also carried programming from other networks like Sesame Street for local families. Advertisers of the programming could pay for commercials to run live during network programming, or they could sponsor programming with live cut-ins that were produced at the station.
We would bring the merchandise over there and they would show it and talk about it, and we'd pick it up the next day.
Carl Karstens of Schnack's Jewelry remembers when KALB first launched their signal in 1954, and he was advertising jewelry during national programming.
It was a 30-minute show, and we had 3 spots in the show. I remember it was a night show, like 7:30.
In the early 1960s, KALB produced and carried popular local programming, along with national programming from NBC and other networks. In the 1970s, the first newscast covering Alexandria and Central Louisiana began broadcasting, using newsreel film that was developed daily in the back of the newsroom. Philip Taylor is the engineering manager at KALB.
When I first started back in '81, they actually had a film processing unit. They would literally be over in processed film, and that was between the transition, that it was still here when I got here, between the transition of film and then moving from there to beta to 3/4 inch tape. The newsroom was full of typewriters and wire copies and slide chains and things like that.
Local news was immediately loved by local Cenla residents, and KALB invested a great deal in a studio and high-tech equipment, becoming the sole source of local television news that has been airing now for 5 decades. News director Carly Luca talks about what goes into KALB News.
We come in each day and we look at stories that viewers have sent us. We look at different stories from news releases. The big thing is we all come together and talk about the plan for the day.
Central Louisiana News has continually grown with exclusive morning news, midday news, afternoon news, nightly news, and weekend news.
And we want to be those people that have our finger on the pulse of what's really going on.
I just think it's greatly improved.
Now it's 24/7. Everything is 24/7. There's no signing off, signing on. You're constantly getting the information.
There's been a big change in technology, but the foundation of what we do has never changed.
KALB is one of the country's most dominant stations, with high-quality local news and top network programming, broadcast all across Central Louisiana. Well, the year was 1954. Tower was up and KALB began broadcasting. So how was the weather on that important day? Jake Lambright has the rundown.
KALB went live on the air for the first time just a little over 70 years ago, back on September 29th, 1954. The first thing that KALB aired was the 1954 World Series, and you may be wondering, back then, were people able to enjoy outdoor plans on top of the World Series, or was everybody reined inside and had to watch the World Series indoors? Well, today I want to walk through the forecast back on KALB's first day on the air. Let's start by talking about the forecast during the day. During the day here in Alexandria, we saw lots of sunshine, no rain in sight, and we saw afternoon highs a little bit warmer than what we would typically see for this time of the year. High temperatures reached 91 degrees. Now, overnight that night, temperatures were also a little bit warmer than usual during the overnight hours, with overnight lows falling to near 70 degrees. Clear skies were still in place across central Louisiana, and once again, no rain was in sight, at least on KALB's first day on the air. But to tell us a little bit more about the forecast on that day, I want to take a look at our atmosphere through a few different layers here by looking at our weather setup. So this first map that you see here is at the 200 millibar pressure level, and this is about how high planes fly in the sky. What we look for at this level is our jet stream and jet streaks, and you can see by these lighter green colors some stronger winds there blowing from northwest to southeast along the western coast of Canada, and more stronger winds blowing from southwest to northeast across portions of Colorado as well as the Dakotas. But we'll find even more as we go a little bit lower and closer to the ground to us here in the atmosphere. This is at the 500 millibar pressure level, and we use this level to determine where our larger scale storm systems are, those areas of higher and lower pressure. So first off, we have an area of high pressure just off the eastern coast of the United States, and this is kind of what's influencing our weather across the entire state of Louisiana and in central Louisiana back on that day in 1954. There is an area of lower pressure there, that low pressure center located in south central Canada, and that area that we see, that trough, that will bring likely a cold front and some rain as we had a little bit closer to the 1st of October back in 1954. Here at the 850 millibar pressure level, a little bit closer to us here at the ground, we use this level to evaluate areas of temperature advection, whether that be warmer or colder temperatures starting to move into the region. We had warmer temperatures moving into the region, keeping us a little bit above average, like I showed a moment ago. That's why we saw those highs near 91 degrees. We've got some cooler temperatures advecting there from the north near that area of lower pressure that would be moving towards the southern states closer to the beginning of October back in 1954. And to look at things here on the ground level here on Earth, we've got those warmer temperatures, and once again, that surface low bringing cooler temperatures behind it back in 1954. So that there is a full look at your 70th anniversary forecast, the weather that we saw here in Alexandria back on September 29th, 1954.
And as KALB celebrates its 70th anniversary, we wanted to take our look at how our morning show, Jambalaya, has been helping residents get their morning started over the years. Anchor Joanna Phillips talked to those who have been involved in the show to dive deeper into the history and the impact that it's made right here in Cenla.
From your local station, this is News Channel 5's Jambalaya.
It's the show that's been waking Cenla up for nearly 7 decades, with a little bit of everything thrown into the mix, you know, kind of like making a jambalaya.
Jambalaya has been kind of a central Louisiana institution. I mean, you know, synonymous with Channel 5.
My name is Mitzi LaSalle.
My name is Mark Hamblin.
I was, I will say, here at News Channel 5 from 1994 to 1999. Anchoring Jambalaya, I want to say probably 98 to 99.
Worked at Channel 5 for many years, began in 1981, the first part of 1981, and I did Jambalaya for about 3 years from 2009 to 2012.
From its early beginnings to the present day, the show has gone through its share of changes, from the set, cameras, lights, and technology behind the scenes.
We definitely did not have the big monitors behind us. When I first started, we had teleprompters where you actually had to physically feed paper into.
The set was totally different. We had a little chair set up in a corner over here where they did jambalaya interviews.
But one thing that hasn't seemed to change with time is the impact the show has in the community.
Definitely the feedback from the community, it was, you know, they woke up with us. They depended on getting their morning information and to start their day.
I didn't realize the impact Jambalaya has until I actually did it for those 3 years. I mean, people watch it all the time. That's how they begin their day. Big shout out to Channel 5. Happiest 70th birthday to KALB TV.
Continue to do the work. Continue to put a spotlight on definitely the positive things that are happening in the community, but continue to be that light that is shined throughout our community. So hey, happy 70th anniversary.
And who are the people behind the scenes? When we come back, we'll meet the people and families that keep KALB moving.
Happy 70th birthday, KALB.
Well, the television viewers in Central Louisiana can watch programming from all around the world and from right here in our own backyard, all with a simple push of a button. But how is KALB programming put together and delivered to the homes of Cenla? The biggest part of KALB programming is news.
I mean, Central Louisiana has a lot of different things. It's just a different experience, and it's something that intrigued me to want to know more about news and want to know more about this community.
People are there to work with you hand in hand every day, day in and day out. You know, whether that's night side or day side reporting, the team is great here.
It's local news, sports, and weather for Central Louisiana.
In Cenla, you never know what's going to happen with the weather.
Tracking weather in Louisiana is always pretty difficult because it's always changing every week.
I'm a reporter here at KALB, and I started in May, and I've loved it ever since.
There's a lot of sports in Cenla and a lot of history that's happened throughout the 70 years.
What may come across as one news anchor talking about things happening around Cenla adds up to large crews of producers, camera operators, and reporters.
You can see something on a national story, and then when you actually dig into it, it can totally be a game changer and make a difference for people in a way that only local journalists can do.
News is not the only programming. Television shows produced around the country air daily, overnight, and weekends on NBC, CBS, WB, and other independent stations, ranging from news, reality, drama, comedy, and kids programming.
We've got a lot of stuff to promote here at KALB.
Love being a part of the KALB team.
I come to work smiling and happy to do my work every day.
Welcome to KALB TV station.
Next comes engineering. The programming that used to be transported in films and tapes of all sizes is now transferred in digital platforms.
Now we do all of that remotely. Everything we can do it on our phones.
And we've got lots of programming.
Been here at KALB for 22 years. Love every minute of it.
KALB's been there forever, and it's a great place to be.
There's always a job that needs to be filled, and I'm always there.
We always strive to bring happiness to the community.
The money that it takes for equipment and staff to produce the news, plus the money for syndicated programming and the staff and equipment used to broadcast the signal across Central Louisiana, is big. But anyone with a television and an antenna gets it free. So who pays the bill?
We're all from here. A lot of us went to high school with business owners or people who are running businesses, the decision makers. And so you use your community connections to sit down and really go through somebody's business and come up with a plan that's truly going to be what we call an ROI, return on investment, to make their business grow. So we grow with them, we become partners with them.
KALB has a sales team that sells commercial time to businesses across Cenla, Louisiana, and around the country. And local commercials can be produced right here by this station.
I like helping my team, and I like helping our local clients grow their business, coming up with new ideas for them, finding different ways to improve their credibility and image within the community, and overall drive business for those folks. So that's our passion here in the sales department.
I've been here for 22 years, and we're on our third different ownership group, and it's by far the best. We're still a part of that company, and still doing the things that are important for local broadcasters and journalists, and doing our best to cover local news the way it should be.
The money from advertisers pays the massive costs of the daily local news, the sporting events, the weather, and the national programming that is broadcast free for the people of Central Louisiana.
Militia! Woo!
I'm Johnny Atkinson reporting.
And as we mark our 70-year celebration, we're also taking a look back at the history of those who helped us reach this point. For many of us, KALB is more than a workplace. It's part of our lives, and as Bennett Rowland Jr. shows us, are part of our families as well.
Knowing Alexandria, Louisiana better, or KALB, is celebrating 70 years of bringing you the stories, the news, and the moments that shape Cenla. But for me, this anniversary holds a special meaning. My journey here began long before I ever stepped foot in this newsroom, thanks to someone who paved the way.
I mean, Channel 5, it means a whole lot because it's a lot of people depend on it for their information.
For 7 decades, KALB has been a trusted source for news, information, and connection. Generations have tuned in to see faces they know and stories that matter. Among those generations, my family.
You have to start somewhere, and they were gracious enough to give me an opportunity. No experience, right out of college, not knowing anything about TV. So it's the experience they have given me that they gave me meant the world.
My father stood in this very newsroom long before I did, gathering the news with the same dedication and passion I hope to carry on today. In many ways, my dad was a trailblazer. He's not just part of the station's history, he helped shape it.
I mean, I've been in TV now for 40 years. So in looking back where you start, after 40 years, you look back where you start came from. And you have to know that my start was very pivotal right there at Channel 5.
Growing up, I watched him work hard, commit to every story, and put the community first. Little did I know his path was leading me here too.
It's such a good feeling to be able to tune in and see you doing what you're doing and always sharp as a tack.
For me, it's much more than my workplace celebrating a birthday. Being a part of KALB's 70th anniversary is part of my family's legacy. Watching my dad, I learned what it means to serve our community, to tell stories that matter, and to do it all with integrity, a responsibility I take seriously every day.
And then they always compare it to your sons followed in your footsteps. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, he did. I say, well, he wanted to be in front, and I wanted to be in the back. And being in the back is where all the work is anyway. You're right. Our work makes them look good.
As we celebrate 70 years, I'm reminded of the generations that came before, the dedication that has kept us going, and the future we look forward to building together. Thank you for making us a part of your lives then, now, and always. For News Channel 5, I'm Bennett Rowland Jr., your local station.
And our 70th anniversary is nothing without the community we have surrounding us. That's why KALB weekend anchor Jay McCulley sat down with one of our former chief photographers to learn more about the history of the station from behind the scenes.
I'll tell you what, it feels good to walk down this hall after all these years, and being here at KALB was, was great. Seeing the changes, even more pictures down the hallway, man, this tells the story how great the station has done, how it's been throughout the years. So that's something that everyone can be proud of.
For Roosevelt Johnson, KALB will always feel like home. Johnson says KALB was his first job after attending Southern University. Johnson says he came to the station with one goal in mind.
And I said, I need a job. I would like to work in television. It's been a career choice, a career goal. Put me anywhere in the building, I would do anything.
Johnson started out as a photographer. He eventually worked his way up to chief photographer. Johnson says he spent a total of 20 years at KALB. He worked on many stories at the station. He says the part he misses most about the job is hearing those personal stories from our viewers.
What happened to people, how they involved, their success, what they did in their livelihoods, to go out and to listen at the general public, knowing that this station was part of the community, that the community was part of KALB.
For those of you who may be interested in becoming a news photographer, the veteran photographer has some advice.
Really capture that one special moment of that soundbite. Within that soundbite was a message that was very clear of how a person really felt within their heart. To do those things, to make a great 10-second soundbite, to make a great moment that will capture that viewer at home.
News looks a little different behind the scenes versus when Johnson worked here. He has fond memories of being in the old live truck.
This truck saw some great events, the livestock shows, and all those things that we did and production did that was live on site. Technology has changed where we have a lot done, and this station has done a lot throughout the years, throughout time. and looking at the satellites, looking at what was put in place over all the years. There's something in transition that this station has done that's been really great in our community.
Johnson has since transitioned into work outside of news and wishes nothing but the best for his former station.
My hope for this station after 70 years is that we will see 100 years of KALB. This station will continue to evolve through its greatness, and it will be measured by the success of the community. Happy 70th anniversary to KALB, and thank you for leading the way.
For News Channel 5, I'm Jay McCulley.
And still to come, we'll meet a state representative who's been watching KALB his entire life.
Happy 70th anniversary, KALB.
Welcome back, and thanks for helping us celebrate KALB's 70th anniversary. You may know Cenla State Representative Mike Johnson as a politician, but he's also a lifelong resident of Pineville. That means he grew up watching KALB. He spoke to our own Colin Vidros about his early years watching the first TV station in Rapides Parish.
You know, the good things that came about were reported through KALB because that's all we had.
Cenla State Representative Mike Johnson reflects on growing up in central Louisiana and watching KALB as a kid.
Well, you know, some of my earliest memories were those that came about from watching KALB, good and bad. I was a small child when the Kennedy assassination occurred, and I watched it on TV. I watched the news show that afternoon. They interrupted the doctors, which was on KALB.
As News Channel 5 marks 70 years on air, indebted to the Cenla community, Johnson, a lifelong Pineville native, says KALB is something he's known his whole life.
My first color TV show was Bonanza on a Sunday night. And I mean, I have vivid memories of that. So in a lot of ways, you know, KALB has always been there.
And with 70 years of service comes with adapting to the current climate of television.
The technology is so different. You know, your weather was a fella who basically had a chalkboard and would move the chalkboard to show you the different maps. And that was different. And you didn't have as much local remote programming. They didn't have the handheld cameras or cameras like you have right now. There wasn't much local sports reported outside of the studio. And certainly that's changed because now you are pretty much live in a lot of places that before may not have even gotten a KALB signal. And the technology now allows that if I'm out of town or if I'm in Baton Rouge, every day I'll go online to watch the local news. It's provided Central Louisiana is open to the world, and the world is open to Central Louisiana, but the technology is the biggest thing.
For Johnson, he remembers KALB as the first TV station in Rapides Parish and a big part of the Cenla community.
The folks were involved, they still are, but to a degree, because of the permanency of a lot of the people that were personalities in there, you know, we grew up with those people and their families, and KALB has been a big part of this community, and I hope that moving forward it continues to be, and that as we grow, KALB grows.
As KALB looks forward to 70 more years of service, Johnson says it's important for the community that KALB communicates with Cenla.
You can do social media, which may not have the reliability or the credibility, or you can rely on TV. In my lifetime, it's been television, and will continue to be. And Channel 5 has been a big part of my life and a big part of my family's life. And for that, we say thank you and happy birthday.
And as we wrap up our anniversary celebrations, we want to recognize the longtime clients and partners who have supported us throughout our 70 years. We caught up with them to find out what KALB means to their businesses and to the community. Here's what they had to say about KALB and the positive impact made over the years.
So my first experience with KALB started in 1994 when I moved here from North Louisiana down to Central Louisiana, and 31 years ago. I can't believe that. And so it wasn't just an experience of advertising for us. It was an experience of them helping educate a young person to be better at marketing their company.
They're a very well trusted and meaningful organization. The public trusts the sources that come out of there, the media, the news, the storm tracking, all the multiple things that they do for the community. And you know, the do it right attitude is what our logo is, and KLB does that as well.
Weiss and Goldring's been here since 1899, so while 70 is a baby to us, it's great to have a partner and great to have local people as part of our business. It's been an integral part of the growth of Alexandria in central Louisiana, and we're very fortunate to have somebody with this magnitude there.
So that's 70 years down, bringing local news, weather, and sports to central Louisiana. Thanks to the staff at KALB who've been working around the clock now, broadcasting 6 local stations free to all the people in Cenla. Thanks to the businesses and clients who have paid for the commercials running every day that helps KALB pay the bills. And thank you for watching and keeping in touch with the people and places all around central Louisiana from everyone at KALB.